Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a really fascinating presentation by John K. Marshall. He's actually known as the DrillMaster. He gave this incredible talk at the 2026 U.S. Air Force Honor Guard Leadership Summit, taking a hard, brilliant look at the hidden dangers of bureaucratic drift. Honestly, whether you have a military background or you're just kind of fascinated by how massive organizations can slowly lose their way without even realizing it, you're going to find this explainer incredibly insightful. Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this right away with a quote that sets up Marshall's central paradox. He states, "An honor guard can execute every movement and still fail the mission." Now, on the surface, that sounds like a total contradiction, right? I mean, if you execute the task perfectly, didn't you succeed? Well, Marshall points out that, yeah, you can step perfectly in time, you can fold that flag without a single wrinkle, and hit every auditory command right on cue, but completing a task perfectly, that is not the same thing as fulfilling the mission's actual meaning. So, to unpack this, we'll take a quick, structured journey through 6 key areas today. We're looking at performance versus meaning, the trap of local habit, when typos become tradition, administration versus mastery, the Space Force warning, and finally, fixing the honor guard. Starting off with Section 1, performance versus meaning. Marshall makes a really important distinction here. He separates the visual performance of a ceremony from its actual institutional meaning. Performance, he argues, is simply what the audience sees, right? But the mission is what that performance actually communicates. When a funeral detail folds a flag, they aren't just completing some choreographed physical sequence. They are physically fulfilling the nation's final promise to a veteran. And that brings us to this concept of stewardship. Marshall argues that true precision isn't just about looking sharp for the cameras. It's the physical evidence of faithful stewardship of history. You see, an honor guard member doesn't own the colors or the ceremonies. They're just holding them temporarily. Their real job is to understand exactly why a movement exists, what it means, and then pass it forward completely undiminished. Because if you just know a movement, sure, you can repeat it. But if you actually understand it, that's when you preserve it. Moving right along to Section 2, the trap of local habit. I bet you've heard this one before. That is how we do it at this base. We hear it all the time. But Marshall points out that this phrase is absolutely not a badge of honor. In fact, he sees it as glaring evidence that ego and personal preference have pushed out official service identity. Think about it. An instructor wants to leave their mark, or maybe someone just thinks a movement looks a tiny bit better done another way, so they tweak it. Then they teach it to the next rotation. It gets repeated over and over, and suddenly, this completely made-up local habit is being fiercely defended as if it's some ancient tradition. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact systemic problem we're talking about when education is separated from repetition. Back in 1990, the Base Honor Guard program was a mess of completely inconsistent local procedures. So to fix this, in 1995, Chief Master Sergeant Timothy Dickens championed a unified standard. The goal was simple: one Air Force, one ceremony. Yet here we are in 2026, 30 years later, and because of that creeping, how we do it at this base mentality, that historical objective is actively unraveling. The very problem the program was built to solve has just snuck right back in. Which leads us to Section 3, when typos become tradition. Let's look at some specific bureaucratic blunders in the military manuals. For generations, the historical standard for an organizational color was a 3x4-foot flag. This wasn't random. It was part of a meticulously designed joint service system to ensure compatibility, especially when operating alongside the Army. But if you look at the current manual, AFI 90-1201, it just casually redefined the size to 3x5 feet. In a single stroke, that erased generations of joint service compatibility. And it's the exact same deal with the flag carry. Historically, you always used the right hand, but currently, the manual lists it as the left hand. Marshall rapid fires through a whole list of these examples to prove how compounding the evidence is that institutional memory is failing. Beyond just the flag dimensions, he points out how manuals are misinterpreting indoor display rules for the POW/MIA flag by playing weird semantic games with the word paraded. He even notes instances where base honor guards are literally purchasing commercially available Air Force emblem flags online with government funds rather than using the official heraldic departmental color. Why? Just because it looked convincing to an untrained eye. And lastly, my personal favorite, changing written drill rules to match a bad photograph. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the micro-narrative behind it. Take Air Force Pamphlet 34-1203 as an example. Historically, the color bearer held the staff with their right hand, but in 2013, a photograph was accidentally printed in the manual showing the bearer using their left hand. This directly contradicted the written text on that exact same page. So what did they do? Instead of, just fixing the photograph, the 2018 revision changed the written text to match the bad photo. A simple editorial mistake literally became mandatory doctrine. Let's move on to Section 4. Exploring the root cause. Administration versus mastery. So, how do these compounding errors actually happen? Marshall attributes it to a structural organizational flaw, a division of authority. On one side, you have AFMO, the Air Force Mortuary Affairs Organization. They do incredible, absolutely vital work in recovery, care, logistics, and administrative policy. But then on the other side, you have the Air Force Honor Guard, whose entire expertise is ceremonial mastery, history, and standards. Marshall points out that over time, the administrative body, AFMO, has slowly absorbed the professional policy authority that should rightfully belong to the ceremonial experts in the Honor Guard. And that leads us to this stark reality. An organization can administer a profession without being qualified to define that profession. The stakes here are huge. When administrative authority detaches from operational expertise, you end up with situations where the people with the actual ceremonial mastery don't have the final say over the publications governing their own field. It creates this bizarre dynamic where the publication has authority without mastery and the Honor Guard has mastery without authority. Now, let's look at the future implications of this structural issue in Section 5, the Space Force Warning. The year 2024 is highly significant here. That was the year the very first Space Force ceremonial guardsmen actually graduated from the U.S. Air Force Honor Guard pipeline. Now, on one hand, this creates an amazing partnership between the branches. But on the other hand, Marshall points out that it also creates a massive institutional risk. So, the crucial point is this quote right here. What the Air Force may dismiss as a recent editorial mistake can become, for the Space Force, an original tradition. Just think about that for a second. Because the Space Force is brand new, they obviously have way less institutional memory to lean on. If they just copy and paste the current Air Force manuals, which, as we've seen, are already riddled with uncorrected typos and bad photographs, the Space Force might accidentally institutionalize another branch's sloppy editorial mistakes as their own founding sacred history. We absolutely do not want that. Finally, let's turn to some highly practical solutions in Section 6, Fixing the Honor Guard. Marshall outlines a 4-step action plan to reverse this trend. First up, intellectual honesty. We just have to be willing to admit when a manual is flat out wrong. Accuracy is loyalty, plain and simple. Second, professional ownership. Ceremonial standards must be controlled by ceremonial experts. That means giving professional control right back to the Air Force Honor Guard. Third is historical review. We need actual experts pulling the real heraldic and joint service histories before making a single change to the manuals. And finally, number 4, education. Every single guardsman must be taught the why behind the movement, not just the how. Marshall wraps up his military critique with this powerful message about stewardship. And as we close out this explainer, I want to toss this question over to you. Because honestly, this applies to any career or organization. Are you preserving the meaning of your mission, or are you just going through the motions? Whether you're in the military, corporate management, a creative field, whatever it is, it's so easy to let administration slowly replace mastery, and to let lazy local habits replace your core identity. So be a steward of your profession. Actually understand the why. Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating topic with me today. Keep asking the tough questions, and I will catch you on the next explainer.